The fog rolled thick off the main coastline, a gray shroud cloaking the sea in a damp, heavy silence that seemed to swallow sound. As we climbed the spiral stairs of Beacon's Vale, our lighthouse, its beams slicing through the mist like a silent warning to ships lost in the haze, a lifeline in the void. We're 5 old spies turned keepers, Cipher, Shade, Raven, Echo, and me, Spectre, retired from shadows most don't dare whisper about, now tending this remote rock 20 miles out, 43.9 degrees north, 69.2 degrees west, where the Atlantic gnaws at the granite with a relentless hunger that mirrored the lives we left behind. I'm Jack Bennett, 58, DGSC, oilskins creaking over scars from a 09 Paris op gone sideways, the memory of gunfire in a narrow alley still sharp, boots gripping the wet steps as the cold seeped through, sunglasses fogged but clear enough to spot the horizon, sea spray stinging my face. Cipher, CIA, 60, stood in the lantern room, gray hair hidden under a hood, eyes sharp as they'd been in 98 Langley when he cracked a code that saved a dozen agents, scanning for threats as he adjusted the lens with a gloved hand, the glass cold under his touch. Shade MI6, 62, checked the fuel tanks below in his patched coat, lean frame steady on the slick rocks, breath visible in the chill, a habit from years in London's underbelly where every shadow held a knife. Raven, Mossad, 59, cleaned the glass panels of the light, his focus intense, the same precision he'd used in 03 Tel Aviv to dismantle a network with a burner phone and a whispered rumor, movements methodical, almost reverent. Echo, FSB, 61, monitored the radio in the keeper's quarters, oilskins dark with sea spray, his quiet demeanor masking years in Moscow's cold where silence meant survival, fingers steady on the dials, listening for static that might mean trouble. We'd been here 2 years, keeping the light for passing ships, the air thick with salt and solitude, waves a constant drum below, their rhythm as familiar as a heartbeat, the lighthouse a sentinel in the fog, its walls scarred by storms and time. The morning was still, wind at 3 knots, the fog muffling the gulls' cries, their wings a faint flutter in the haze, the sea a gray expanse stretching into nothingness, when Raven's voice cut through the damp air, low and precise, a tone that had once stopped a Cairo deal mid-sentence. "Boat approaching," he said, pointing southeast, finger steady as a blade, eyes narrowing behind the glass. A skiff, black and low, cut through the fog, too fast for fishing, a tattered flag with a gray wisp fluttering in the breeze, fog marauders, a name we'd heard in whispers, their reputation a storm cloud on the coast. We'd caught rumors in Rockland bars, pirates hitting outposts for fuel, supplies, even boats, leaving keepers stranded, sometimes bloodied, their names a curse among fishermen. They didn't know who we were, didn't know the hands that cleaned this lens had held dossiers that toppled governments, that the voices on this radio had whispered secrets that changed borders. Cipher dimmed the light, the beam fading to a flicker, as the skiff closed in, 6 men aboard, armed, rifles slung over shoulders, cutlasses glinting, a harpoon in one's grip, its tip a promise of violence. Their leader, a gaunt captain with hollow eyes, stood at the bow, shouting over the waves, voice raw with greed. "Hand over the fuel and gear, or we burn the tower!" Shade snorted, setting down a wrench on the iron railing, voice a dry rasp that had talked down a double agent in 95, carrying over the wind. "Not a chance," he said, a challenge, a line drawn in the sea. "They'd regret that choice," but the fog held its breath, the sea waiting, its surface a mirror of our past, a battlefield, a chessboard, a graveyard of secrets we buried deep. We played these games before, in cities and shadows, just not with pirates, not on this rock, but the game was on, and we were ready. The skiff bumped against Beacon's Vale's rocky base, hull scraping the granite with a groan that echoed through the fog, a sound like bones grinding, the fog marauders climbing the iron ladder with the confidence of wolves scenting prey, boots clanging on the rungs, metal slick with sea spray. We watched from the lantern room, 80 feet up, fog swirling around us like a living thing, a damp veil clinging to the glass, the beam off to mask our numbers, panels cold under our hands as we peered through the mist. Their leader, the gaunt captain, later we'd learn his name, Drace, led with a cutlass, its blade catching the faint light filtering through the fog, hollow eyes scanning the tower with a predator's focus, his crew of 6 spreading out on the rocks below, rifles slung over shoulders, a harpoon gleaming, another with a hooked blade better suited to gutting fish. Or men. They moved like they'd done this before, steps sure despite the slick granite, waves crashing below with a rhythm that matched my pulse, thinking we were just isolated keepers with nothing but oil and grit to fight for, their laughter muffled by the fog as they called out taunts. We weren't what they expected. Shade stood by the fuel hatch on the lower platform, patched coat damp with mist, his MI6 calm a mask for the storm inside, hands steady as he gripped a wrench, not as a tool but a weapon, metal cold against his palm. Raven leaned against the lantern housing, Mossad precision in every glance, mapping their positions like a chessboard, noting the harpoon man's limp, a weak point. Echo stayed by the radio, oilskins dark, FSB silence a shield, listening for any signal through the static, fingers hovering over the dials, ready to jam their comms. Cypher watched from the window, hood up, CIA instincts cataloging threats, calculating odds, breath fogging the glass as he whispered, 6 armed, overconfident. I adjusted my sunglasses, DGSE training kicking in, feeling the weight of my concealed knife in my boot, oilskins heavy on my shoulders, counting their steps, 7 rungs to the first landing, 12 to the door. Dre shouted again, voice raw. Fuel gear now, or we climb up and take it. He raised his cutlass, the blade a threat, his crew fanning out, 2 heading for the storage shed, 2 for the generator, the others guarding the ladder, rifles ready but loose, their discipline lacking. We'd seen worse. In 03 Cairo, Raven had taken down a cell with a single call. In 95 London, Shade had turned a traitor with a conversation. In 09 Paris, I'd fought through an ambush with a broken blade. This was a game we knew, just on a new board, the fog our ally, the rocks our terrain. Cypher's voice was low, a command. Hold position, let them climb. We nodded, silent, the lighthouse creaking in the wind, waves a steady drum, gulls circling unseen above, their cries a faint echo in the haze. They wanted a fight, thought they'd win easy, their greed blinding them to the trap we'd become, the tower a fortress we'd defend with skills honed in shadows far darker than this fog. The fog marauders reached the first landing, 20 feet up, boots scraping the iron platform with a clang that reverberated through the fog, the sound sharp against the muted crash of waves below, Dre barking orders with a rasp, his cutlass pointing toward the weathered wooden door, locked tight with a bolt we'd reinforced last month. We held our positions, Cypher and I in the lantern room, peering through the cold glass, Shade and Raven on the mid-level platform, oilskins slick with mist, Echo below by the radio, each of us a cog in a machine oiled through decades of covert ops, the lighthouse our fortress, the fog our shroud, its dampness seeping into our bones. Dre's crew split again. 2 pried at the storage shed with a crowbar, wood splintering with a crack, revealing fuel cans glinting inside, $500 worth, their greed slowing their hands. 2 kicked at the generator housing, metal denting with each thud, while Drace and the harpoon man started up the next set of stairs, the hooked blade pirate guarding the ladder, rifle slung but fingers twitching, the barrel catching a sliver of light. They thought noise would scare us, thought we'd cower behind the tower's walls, their shouts bouncing off the granite. Come out, keepers, or we burn it all! Their voices a mix of bravado and impatience. We didn't flinch. I'd stared down a sniper in 09 Paris, the bullet whizzing past my ear. Cypher had outlasted a KGB interrogator in 87, his silence a weapon. Shade had walked through a Belfast riot in 92, fists clenched. Raven had hunted in Gaza's alleys, shadows his cloak. Echo had survived Siberia's winters, the cold a test of will. This was nothing, just louder, a challenge we'd faced in darker corners. Shade moved first, MI6 stealth in his steps, slipping down the inner stairs to the generator level, a coil of rope in hand, its fibers rough against his palm, his plan unspoken but clear. We'd choke their approach, turn the tower into a maze they couldn't navigate. Raven followed, Mossad instincts sharp as a blade, a flare gun from the emergency kit in his grip, its red casing dull in the mist, not to signal but to blind, his eyes calculating the angle. Echo jammed their frequency, a burst of static from our radio cutting their comms, their shouts turning to confusion as their earpieces died, the fog amplifying their disarray, curses lost in the haze. Cypher and I watched, my knife now in hand, its blade a comfort from years in the field, his eyes on the shed team. They'd cracked it open, fuel cans exposed, their hands reaching, their greed a weakness. "No," Cypher whispered, his CIA voice a thread of steel, and we moved, silent, down the spiral stairs, wood creaking softly under our weight, the fog muffling our steps like a blanket. Shade struck first, rope snapping taut across the stairs, tripping the harpoon man mid-climb, his weapon clattering down the rungs with a metallic crash. Drace cursing as he stumbled, caught off guard, his cutlass swinging wild. Raven fired the flare, a red streak lighting the fog, the shed team screaming, hands to their eyes, cans dropped, fuel spilling, its scent sharp and acrid, pooling on the rocks. The generator team turned, rifles up, barrels glinting, but Echo was there, a wrench thrown hard, cracking one's knee with a sickening pop, the pirate crumpling, the other firing blind, bullets pinging off the tower, the sound sharp and erratic in the haze, ricocheting into the sea. I reached the landing, knife flashing in the dim light, disarming the hook-blade pirate with a wrist lock, his rifle falling with a thud, my boot to his chest pinning him down, his breath ragged, eyes wide with shock. Drace recovered, cutlass swinging in a wide arc, but Cypher was faster, CIA precision in his dodge, a fire extinguisher from the wall spraying foam in Drace's face, the white cloud blinding him, the pirate staggering, roaring, his voice lost in the fog. In 3 minutes, forward down, sprawled on the platform or rocks, two pinned against the shed, Drace cornered by the stairs, the fog thicker now, waves louder, the lighthouse a steady sentinel, its granite unyielding against the chaos we'd unleashed. The Coast Guard was delayed, the fog, thicker now, and 5-foot swells from a storm 40 miles out slowed their cutter, so we secured the fog marauders tighter, using more cable ties from the shed, their wrists red from the plastic, the skiff tethered to a mooring post with heavy rope, its hull creaking in the waves as the sea rocked it like a cradle. Drace sat against the generator housing, foam still on his face, hollow eyes burning but silent, his crew scattered across the rocks, tied and subdued, avoiding our gazes, their rifles and cutlasses piled in the keeper's quarters, the harpoons tipped dulled by the granite, a trophy of their defeat. We took stock. The fuel cans were safe, $500 worth, their metal cold in the mist, but they'd dented the generator housing, $300 to fix, the metal crumpled where they'd kicked it, and splintered the shed door, $200 to replace, the wood jagged and splintered, a scar on our sanctuary. Shade stood watch on the platform, patched coat soaked, MI6 focus unwavering, scanning the fog for movement, breath steady in the cold, damp air clinging to his skin. Raven checked the lighthouse lens, ensuring the flare hadn't damaged it, Mossad hands careful, the glass fogged but intact, its surface a mirror of the gray sky. Echo monitored the radio, static crackling, FSB patience a rock, waiting for the guard's signal, fingers poised over the dials, ready for any change. Cypher sat on a crate, hood down, CIA mind running scenarios, calculating risks, gray hair catching the faint light, while I leaned on the railing, oilskins heavy, sunglasses reflecting the mist, counting gulls, 10, their cries faint, circling tighter as the fog deepened, a distraction while we waited, their wings cutting through the haze like ghosts. Drace broke the silence, voice low, edged with a tremor. "You're not keepers, are you?" Cypher didn't look at him, tone flat, a blade of its own. "We keep the light." Drace scoffed, but fear edged his words, a man who'd misjudged his prey, his gaunt face pale, foam drying in streaks on his skin. They'd hit 3 outposts this month, Coast Guard reports said, $60K in stolen goods, 2 keepers injured, 1 with a broken arm, left on a rock to freeze, his cries a memory for the coast, their desperation a plague on the waves. They thought we'd be the 4th, thought the fog would hide their theft, our age a weakness they could exploit. We weren't weak. I'd run ops in 09 Paris, Cypher had cracked codes in Langley, Shade had turned spies in London, Raven had hunted in Gaza, Echo had survived Moscow's games, our scars a map of battles won. Echo's radio crackled, Coast Guard, 15 minutes out, their cutter fighting the swells, the fog a wall they couldn't pierce, their signal a lifeline in the static. I thought of 03 Berlin, a safe house raid, 5 of us then, against 15. Same teamwork, same result, the snow red with our win, the cold a mirror of this fog. These pirates were amateurs, driven by desperation, no strategy, their skiff loaded with stolen fuel, a bag of cash, $300 crumpled, evidence of their spree, the diesels sent sharp in the air, a reminder of their greed. The fog pressed closer, waves steady, the lighthouse a beacon even unlit, air thick with salt and tension, rocks slick underfoot, the sea a judge, the fog a jury, waiting to see how this would end. The Coast Guard cutter broke through the fog at 1:20 p.m. A 40-foot vessel, white hull with a blue stripe, slicing the waves with a precision that cut through the haze, crew of 5 in blue uniforms, armed with M4 carbines, moving with the efficiency of a unit that knew the sea's dangers, boots steady on the rocks as they boarded. They took one look at the tied-up fog marauders, sprawled and defeated, and nodded at us, no questions. Professionals recognize professionals, even if our uniforms were oilskins and boots, salt crusted into the fabric, faces lined with years of secrets, eyes sharp with the weight of unseen wars. We handed over the weapons, rifles scratched, cutlasses dull, the harpoon bent, along with the cash, $300 in damp bills, and the stolen fuel cans, their metal dented, Echo giving coordinates in his clipped FSB tone. 43.9 degrees north, 69.2 degrees west, 6 hostiles, armed, neutralized. The guard cuffed Drace and his crew, metal clicking loud in the fog, a sound that echoed finality, loaded them onto the cutter, untethered the skiff for impound, its black hull bobbing in the swell, a relic of their failure, its flag a tattered memory. Drace glared as they dragged him off, muttering threats. "We'll be back." Voice hoarse, but his crew stayed silent, heads down, knowing they'd lost more than a fight, their freedom, their operation, their pride, the sea a witness to their fall. The guard captain, a lieutenant in his 30s, shook Cypher's hand, grip firm, callous from years on the water. "Heard of these guys, 3 hits, $60,000 stolen, 2 injured. You did us a favor." Cypher shrugged, hood damp. "Just keeping the light." Words of dismissal, eyes on the horizon as the fog began to lift, revealing a gray expanse. They left, the cutter vanishing into the thinning mist, gulls trailing them, cries fading, waves steady, the fog lifting slightly, revealing a horizon that promised clarity. We checked the lighthouse, lens intact, fuel secure, generator humming after Raven's quick fix on a loose wire, shed door splintered but usable, the tower standing tall against the sea's embrace. Echo stowed the flare gun, oilskin stained with salt, while Shade coiled the rope, Raven cleaned the glass, and I secured the platform, knife back in my boot, oilskins heavy with mist, the weight a comfort. The fog thinned enough to see the sea, waves glinting in the pale light, air cold but clearer, the storm's edge retreating, leaving us in a fragile calm. We'd lost 2 hours, maybe $100 in fuel use, but Beacon's Vale was ours, the pirates gone, their skiff a speck on the horizon, towed away, the sea indifferent to the morning's chaos. Shade cracked open a thermos, coffee steaming in the cold air, Raven checked the charts, Echo adjusted the radio, Cypher scanned the horizon, and I counted gulls, 8 now, circling wider, shadows faint on the rocks, cries a soft echo of the storm's retreat. We'd tend the light tonight, same as always, the fog a reminder of our past, Berlin, Moscow, Paris, Gaza, London, different shadows, same game, the sea a constant, its rhythm a heartbeat we'd learned to match. 3 days later, the fog had lifted, the Maine coast bathed in pale sunlight, sea a deep blue stretching to the horizon, waves gentle at 2 knots, air crisp with the scent of salt and pine, a freshness that washed away the tension of that foggy morning. We returned to routine at Beacon's Vale, tending the light, lantern room warm with the sun's glow, glass panels sparkling after Raven's cleaning, beam ready for dusk, its arc a promise to ships beyond. We'd repaired the shed door, $200 in new wood, planks fresh against the weathered tower, generator housing patched by Shade, $300 saved with his careful hands, the lighthouse humming, its rhythm steady, a heartbeat of its own. Cypher checked the fuel levels, hood off, gray hair catching the light, while Echo tested the radio, static clear, FSB focus sharp, Raven polished the lens, Shade oiled the stairs, and I scanned the horizon, sunglasses clear, oilskins lighter in the sun, knife in my Buddha habit, its weight a reminder of shadows left behind. The Coast Guard raid on the Fog Marauders' hideout made news. $100K in stolen goods recovered, 8 arrests. Drace's crew finished, their base on a derelict pier shut down, boards rotted, a ghost of their operation. Local keepers heard our story through the grapevine, started organizing. By week's end, 10 outposts formed a network, radios linked, calling it Fog Watch, a system to spot trouble early, voices crackling over airwaves with coordinates and sightings. A web of vigilance we'd unintentionally spun. They asked us to lead, but Cypher declined, voice steady. We keep the light. Ending the conversation, CIA brevity a wall, focus on the tower, not the network. They respected that, didn't push, boats nodding in the distance, a silent thanks. A keeper from Star's Edge, 30 miles south, hailed us on the radio, voice warm through static. Heard you took down the Marauders. How? Raven answered, clipped. Strategy. Mossad tone leaving no room for questions, a summary of decades in the field. That night, in Rockland, the bar was alive, keepers, fishermen, a Coast Guard ensign off duty, uniform swap for a sweater, all talking about the Marauders' fall, their hits known, $60K stolen, 2 keepers hurt, 1 still limping, arms scarred, a story etched in pain. They bought us whiskeys, glasses cold, called us heroes, voices loud over the hum of a jukebox playing old sea shanties, air thick with smoke and laughter, warmth a contrast to the fog we'd fought through. We didn't drink much, didn't talk much, Shade raised a glass, said. To the light. And we nodded, clink a quiet vow, a promise to the tower that had become home. The sea hadn't changed, waves a constant, but the word was out, don't mess with Beacon's Veil, don't test the keepers in the fog, a warning carried on the wind. We'd earned that, same as our scars in Berlin, Moscow, Paris, Gaza, London, memories a weight we carried, the lighthouse a refuge, the light a purpose, its beam a defiance of the dark. The story spread faster than expected. By day 5, Rockland was buzzing, keepers swapping tales at the docks, voices carrying over the creak of boats, locals pointing at Beacon's Veil from shore, whispers about the spy keepers. A new legend, eyes wide with awe, tower a silhouette against dawn. We tended the light that day, sea calm, sun high, waves glinting like glass, our best shift in months, lens spinning smooth, $800 in fuel saved with a new schedule Raven devised, beam cutting clear at dusk, a signal to unseen ships beyond the horizon. Star's Edge's keeper dropped off a new radio, $250 model, casing sleek, said it was thanks for cleaning up the coast. Echo installed it, tested the range, 15 miles clear, better than our old one, static gone, signal a lifeline we hadn't known we needed. Shade fixed a loose stair, iron creaking under his wrench, while Cypher bought new fuel cans, $300 worth, safer for storage, metal gleaming in the lantern room. Raven cleaned the lens again, a ritual, Mossad focus a quiet reverence, and I adjusted my sunglasses, oilskins creaking, scanning docks for trouble. None came, air quiet, sun warm on my face, sea a mirror of calm. Fog Watch grew to 12 outposts, network tight, radios active, keepers sharing sightings of stray boats, a system we'd sparked without meaning to, signals a web across the coast, a safety net woven from our actions. A local blogger, young, 20s, showed up by boat, camera flashing like a beacon, asking for an interview. Cypher waved her off, voice gruff. No story here. And a barrier, CIA wall up, eyes on the horizon, not her lens. She left, but posted a piece. Spy keepers stop pirate raid. It hit 8,000 views, comments calling us ghosts, legends, madmen, words a digital echo we ignored, screen a distraction from the real work of the light. The bar was quieter now, no hero talk, just nods from other keepers, a new respect in their eyes, some leaving extra oil, $15 worth, Ken's clattering softly on the dock, a silent thanks. We returned to the lighthouse at dawn, Beacon's Veil standing tall, sea endless, sun rising slow, gulls circling, 14 now, shadows long on the rocks, cries a morning song, horizon a promise of another day. We didn't talk about the pirates, didn't need to, teamwork spoke louder, same as in '03 Berlin, when Raven intercepted a call to save Echo, or '95 London, when Shade walked me through a riot, arm bleeding, voice steady, a lifeline in chaos. The light spun steady, fuel cans full, day hours, sea a witness to our quiet, fog a memory, sun a new chapter we'd earned, tower our ground, beam a defiance of the dark. Fog watch solidified over the next week, 15 outposts now, a fixture on the main coast, radios crackling with updates, sightings of debris, weather shifts, no pirates, airwaves alive with voices, a hum of vigilance stretching across waves. We kept tending Beacon's Vale, lighthouse a constant, shift steady, $700 in fuel a week, lens spinning smooth, light cutting through dark, a beacon for ships we'd never see, arc a silent promise. Cypher bought a new logbook, $50, for better records, pages crisp in the lantern room, a record of our days, while Echo upgraded the radio antenna, $80, stronger for storms, hands quick, signal clear to 20 miles, a lifeline in static. I kept oilskins on, sunglasses scratched but good, scanning horizons, see a mirror of blue, while Shade tested the new antenna, voice booming. Clear to Rockland. Sound rolling over waves, a testament to our reach. Raven polished the lens, Mossad focus a ritual, glass a mirror of the sky, clarity a point of pride. The Coast Guard sent a letter commending our civilian action, offering a liaison for Fog Watch. We passed it to Star's Edge's keeper, let him handle it. Paperwork a burden we shed, hands for the light, not pens, focus on the tower, not bureaucracy. Locals stopped asking about pirates, but the story lingered. Kids in Rockland called us ghost keepers. Voices high with wonder, parents nodding our way, some leaving spare bulbs, $20 worth, glass clinking on the dock, a quiet thanks. A new keeper, Mist's End, joined the network, named for the Marauder's fall. Its keeper, a 55-year-old widow, shook our hands, said we'd inspired her to take the post, husband lost to pirates 2 years back, eyes hard with resolve, grip firm, a survivor like us. We didn't say much, kept working, dawn shifts, dusk checks, routine grounding us, rocks our battlefield, sea our judge, waves a rhythm we matched. The bar became our evening spot, corner table, whiskey's cold, talk low. Raven shared a story from '03 Gaza, a trap set with a fake drop, targets shock a memory. Shade laughed about a botched MI6 op in '92, safe house a mess. Echo stayed quiet, cleaning his knife, steel glinting in dim light, a ritual of his own. Cypher watched the door, I watched the crowd, old habits, never gone, shadows our allies, jukebox humming softly, a sea shanty that felt like home. The coast felt safer, not because pirates were gone, others would come, flags new, but because keepers weren't alone anymore, radios a net of their own, waves a bond we'd forged, a legacy we hadn't sought but couldn't deny. A storm hit 2 weeks later, 25-knot winds, waves 8 feet, sea churning black and angry, a beast we knew better than to challenge, roar a call we'd heard in darker days, a reminder of missions in torrential rain and howling winds. We stayed at Beacon's Vale, lighthouse tied tight, shutters down, lens covered, beam off, tower creaking but secure, granite unyielding against the storm's fury. We secured the base, same teamwork as always, Shade hauled ropes, hands raw from fibers, Raven checked shutters, fingers precise, Echo tied down loose gear, clatter soft against wind's howl, Cypher directed, voice a guide through the gale. I scouted for weak spots, DGSE and me never off duty, wind a test, rain cold on my face, stinging like memories of a Paris night. The storm passed in a day, leaving the coast wet, debris scattered, driftwood, seaweed, a lost buoy, but no damage to the tower. Fog watch warning all keepers in, radios saving more than time, airwaves a lifeline in the dark, a network that held strong. We resumed shifts the next morning, sea calm again, sun breaking through clouds, waves gentle, air fresh with rain's aftermath, scent clean, horizon clear, a new beginning after the storm's rage. Light spun smooth, $600 in fuel that week, lens clear after Raven's work, beam cutting through dusk, a signal of safety, a defiance of the dark. A Coast Guard ensign met us in Rockland, off duty, buying us around, saying the Marauder's bus led to a bigger ring, 15 arrests, $200,000 in goods recovered, smuggling route shut down, chains broken, boats impounded, a network unraveled by our spark. He called us the catalyst, voice warm. We shrugged. Cypher said, "Just keeping the light." And we moved on, words a mantra, whiskey sharp on our tongues, a burn that felt like victory. Fog Watch hit 18 outposts, network a routine, some keepers training with the guard, learning signals, a militia of the coast, radios a hum of purpose, a shield against the next threat. We stayed out of it, but they named a patrol route after us, Vale Line, 20 miles out, a nod we didn't ask for, name a weight we carried quietly, a reminder of the fog we'd fought through. The bar was packed that night, keepers trading stories, ours just one, fading into noise of new storms, new lights, jukebox playing a slow tune, air warm with salt and smoke. We sat in the corner, Cypher sipping coffee, steam rising, shades smoking, smoke curling, Raven reading a chart, Echo cleaning his knife, me watching the door, same as always, shadows our guard, see a call that never faded, waves a song we knew by heart. The coast stayed calm that month, no pirate sightings, Fog Watch holding strong, 20 outposts, radios a constant hum, weather updates, ship sightings, a stray skiff spotted but gone before they closed in, air alive with vigilance, a net we'd helped weave, a legacy we hadn't sought. We kept tending Beacon's Vale, lighthouse a fixture, shifts steady, $650 in fuel a week, lens spinning smooth, light cutting through night, a beacon for the lost, see a deep blue under sun, surface a mirror of peace. Shade painted the railing, gray to match granite, brushstrokes careful, a task that grounded him, while Cypher bought a new compass, $70, better for navigation, needle steady, a guide for nights ahead. Raven swapped gloves for thicker ones, $30, warmer for winter, hands steady, a most sad habit, and I cleaned my sunglasses, oilskins faded but warm, sea breeze cool at dawn, knife in my boot a constant. A reminder of shadows left behind. Echo upgraded radio software, free from a keeper's tip, signal clearer, FSB focus a quiet force, static a thing of the past. A local school group visited Rockland, 12 kids, teacher asking about pirates. Raven told us sanitized version. We stopped the bad guys. And they cheered, calling us heroes, drawings of Beacon's Vale pinned at the bar, crayon towers with stick-figure spies, colors bright, laughter a light of its own, a warmth we hadn't expected. We didn't laugh, didn't mind, parents bought us tea, $8 worth, cups steaming, a small thanks, aroma warm, a comfort after fog's cold. Fog Watch named another route, Marauder's Line, 25 miles out, a second nod we ignored, name a memory we let fade, focus on the light, not the past. Coast Guard sent a final report, Fog Marauders dismantled, 18 arrests, $300,000 in goods recovered, trafficking angle uncovered, shut down hard, files thick, operation a ghost, a shadow we banished. They offered a commendation ceremony, we declined. Cypher mailed the letter back, wrote, "No thanks. Ink bold, focus on the light, not medals, tower our true honor." We returned to the lighthouse at dawn, sea endless, sun rising slow, gulls circling, 6 now, shadows long on waves, cries a morning hymn, horizon a promise of another day. Light spun steady, fuel cans full, day ours, same as in 03 Berlin, 95 London, 09 Paris, 03 Gaza, 87 Moscow, different shadows, same team, memories a chain we wore lightly, past a fog we navigated. We'd earned this peace, fought for it, shared it, see a witness, fog a past, light a future, beam a defiance of dark left behind. The bar waited, whiskey's cold, stories old, wood worn, coast alive with our echo, a legacy of light we'd never sought but couldn't deny, waves a song we'd sing forever.